Good morning, boys and girls. Mrs. Lofton, we're gonna do our flag salute first before we do our morning meeting, okay? So I want everybody to stand. Remember, we always do the right hand. See that? Put it right over your heart. We're gonna say it together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now I'm going to move us over here. Sorry about the wiggling around. Okay, there is our morning message. Okay, and I hope everybody had a great night. You're ready to start. Okay, in fact, Mrs. Lofton's going to come over on this side. I think you might be able to see me a little bit better. How's that? Okay, and here we have little Oscars ready. We start left to right. Oh wait, what did we forget? We forgot our greeting. So I want everybody to do a, let's do an I love you greeting. I love you, good morning. Okay, sorry about that. Now we can start. Left to right, good morning, owls. Today is, okay, so what day of the week is it? Yesterday, if we did our song, it should be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So today, let's write that up here. And when I write Wednesday, I'm going to put an uppercase because when I write the days of the week, they're special. They get a big letter. So we're writing Wednesday. And what month is it? What month comes after September? October, again, gets a big O because it is a month and the months are special. October, and if yesterday was 6, what number comes after 6? 7th. And it is what year? Tell a grown-up, 2020, okay? Don't forget this because we're going to mention it back in calendar math. We have world language. Please don't forget, get on to Mrs. Cooley's world language Google Classroom to find out if she has any lives and to see what work she has for you, okay? Our letter of the day is, that kind of looks like the letter U almost, but it's pointed at the bottom. Does anybody know what that letter is? It's V. Watch. V, v, v. It almost tickles when you do it, like your lip. If you go, v, it vibrates. And I think of like a violin. You play a v, 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 violin, right? So the violin starts with V. So we're gonna get our paddle. Oh my goodness. And make sure you have your paddles ready. It almost looks like an upside down, unfinished triangle because you're gonna go slant line, slant line. So you're gonna go down, up, okay? That's the uppercase. Now lowercase looks almost the same, but it's smaller. And I know some of you heard me mention, we talk about the headline or the skyline at the top. Talk about the belly button, okay? Hold on, my light came out. And we talk about the foot line, all the way at the bottom of the ground. So we're starting at the belly button and I do the same thing. I'm gonna go like this, slant line, okay? Okay, so I want you to practice that in your reader's notebook. And let me see, let's put our Oscar right here. And we have in our blue reader's notebook, the letter V. Let me find it. Oh, right here. Is on page 19. And this is really good practice we have the headline, the belly button line, and then we have the foot line. Or you can say the sky, and then I like to say you have like that middle part, and then you have the ground, okay? So we'll practice that in small groups. All right, so let's look at some things that start with letter V. Okay, this one might be kind of hard, but this is called a vulture. Vulture. It's a really ugly looking bird, isn't it? Oh, I know we love to eat these. Vegetables. Look how long that word is. It's a long one. Vegetables starts with letter V. This is a van. Short word. Look at that. It's only 3 letters. Oh, you're gonna like this one. I know you want to say heart, but we give these out on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day starts with a V. It's a pretty long word. Volleyball. Another one. It's 2 words put together. Volleyball. But it's still really long. And I did this before when I was showing you our violin. That's a pretty short word. Nobody's gonna know this. Maybe your grown-ups will. This is called a videotape. Videotape. Back in old century times when I was younger, this is what we used to put into our TVs, our VCRs, and we used to watch movies on these. Now you don't have them anymore. Video. And this is something you put flowers in. This is a v. Oops, sorry. Hold it that way. Vase. So I want you to draw some things to your grown-ups. Things that start with the v sound. And I'm looking in the room and I think, oh, this one I didn't do. And this is a cool one. I know everybody might have thought of this. Does anybody have an idea? And let's make this red coming out. Does anybody know what that might be? That is a volcano, and sometimes smoke comes out, so we'll make some smoke clouds. And remember our labeling. You can make an uppercase and a lowercase V next to your picture to label. And I like to say decorate it, because decorating makes it exciting to look at. Because if I was reading a book, I wouldn't want pictures that were just like boring and stick figures. I want to have lots of color, because I'm going to read a book to you now that might not look that nice if it wasn't having all these beautiful colors in it. So the person that did the pictures definitely decorated it. So we're going to get right into that. This is called How Many Seeds in a Pumpkin? Okay, how many seeds are in a pumpkin? Charlie, I'm going to move over a little bit. Charlie liked school. He liked his teacher, Mr. Tiffin. He liked his best friend, Alex, but he did not like lining up to go into school. Mr. Tiffin's class lined up by size, tallest to smallest or smallest to tallest. Well, Charlie was the smallest in the class every time. I wonder why he didn't like it. Do you know? Maybe because he was always last. One chilly fall morning, Charlie was surprised to see 3 bright orange pumpkins on Mr. Tiffin's desk. One pumpkin was big, one was medium, and one was small. How many seeds in a pumpkin? Mr. Tiffin asked the class. Does anybody know? I don't know. Let's read to find out. Nobody knew, but everybody had ideas. The biggest one has the most, said Robert. I bet it has 1 million seeds. Robert was the tallest boy in the class. The medium one has 500, Eleanor said. Eleanor always sounded as if she knew exactly what she was talking about. She knew everything. The tiny one has 22, said Anna. Anna liked even numbers better than odd numbers. Mr. Tiffin wrote down all the guesses on the blackboard. Charlie was very quiet. What are you thinking, Charlie? Asked Mr. Tiffin. I'm thinking that all the best guesses are taken, Charlie said. Why don't we open these pumpkins up and see? Ooh, that sounds like fun. So here they're getting their newspapers. Why do you think they're getting newspapers? Can you tell a grown-up why? Because if you're taking those pumpkins out, why would you need those newspapers? The next day, the kids in Mr. Tiffin's class brought in spoons for scooping and bowls for holding and plastic bags for throwing out. They covered the floor with newspaper. They put on their smocks. It's a messy business counting pumpkin seeds, said Mr. Tiffin, but the class was ready, so it must be messy work. After Mr. Tiffin cut a circle around each pumpkin stem, Kimmy, Alex, and Jake pulled off the caps. The children peered inside. That means they looked inside. This one definitely has the most, said Robert. We'll see, said Mr. Tiffin. The pumpkin pulp was slimy and stringy, and the seeds were hard to get out. Look at it. When the children were finished, there were 3 empty pumpkins. Remember the 3 sizes? Small, medium, and large. 3 full bowls. Look at all the seeds that came out of all 3. And then look, 20 messy hands. Look at all the all that stuff all over. Tomorrow we will find out the answer to our question, said Mr. Tiffin. Tonight your homework is to think about how we should count all the seeds. That's a lot of seeds to count. Got to figure out a whole way to count them. That afternoon, Mr. Tiffin dried the seeds. Looks like he's putting them in a toaster, because remember I said you can eat pumpkin seeds. They're really good if you get them cooked the right way. The next day, he put them in 3 paper bags marked big, medium, and small. Did you do your thinking homework? He asked the class. Yes, Alex said. I think we should just guess. I think we should count very, very carefully. I think we should count by 2s, 5s, and 10s, said Molly. The class agreed that Molly had a good idea. Robert, Kimmy, and Jake all wanted to count the seeds in the big pumpkin by 2s. Anna asked if she could join them. We can be the 2s club, she said. They practiced counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, they said together. We're going to learn that later this year, how to count by 2s. Jeremy, Tara, Eleanor, Molly, and Alex liked counting by 5s. We'll count the seeds in the medium pumpkin, said Molly. We can count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, they cheered. I'll take the smallest pumpkin, said Charlie. I guess I'll be in the 10s club. Can you show me 10 fingers? Both of your hands up. Good idea, said Mr. Tiffin. 10, 20, 30, Charlie began. Soon there were many groups of seeds in front of each pumpkin. The 2s club. See, said Robert, the 2s club has the most. They had 170 pairs of seeds. Okay, here's the medium one. The 5s club had lots too. They had 63 groups of 5 seeds and then 1 seed left over. So I wonder how much all of that would be. This is the 10s club. This is Charlie's small pumpkin. They had exactly 35 groups of 10 seeds. Robert looked at the seeds in front of Charlie. You don't have a whole lot, he said. Let's get counting, said Mr. Tiffin. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, began Robert. It took a long time to count 170 pairs of seeds. My brain hurts. The biggest pumpkin had 340 seeds. Almost 1,000,000, said Jake. The 5s were a little bit easier. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, chanted Jeremy, Tara, Eleanor, and Molly. There were 316 seeds in the medium pumpkin. Too bad for you, said Robert. It's not a contest, said Molly. You ready to see how many the small pumpkin had? The 10s were the fastest of all, since there were just 35 groups. 10, 20, 30, 40, Charlie counted to himself. This can't be right, he said. What can't be right? Asked Mr. Tiffin. There are 350 seeds in my little pumpkin, said Charlie. That means it had the most of all. So it does, said Mr. Tiffin. Congratulations, Charlie, said Alex. The 10s club wins. It's not a contest, said Robert. Mr. Tiffin told the class to gather around. You can never tell just how many seeds are in a pumpkin until you open it up. But there are many clues. Take a look at these. The class did. Charlie's is darker orange, and it has more lines on the outside. It had more lines, and it was darker. Yep, for each line on the outside, there is a row of seeds on the inside. So the more lines a pumpkin has, they have more seeds. So wherever there's a line, there's going to be seeds. And the longer the pumpkin grows, the more lines it gets. And its skin gets a darker orange. So there's really dark orange pumpkins. We're going to have more seeds. Even though my pumpkin was the smallest, it was on the vine the longest, said Charlie. Exactly, agreed Mr. Tiffin. When it was time to go home, the class lined up by the door. Smallest to tallest this time, said Mr. Tiffin. Robert was in the back. Eleanor was in the middle. Charlie was in the front. Small things can have a lot going on inside them, Charlie said to Mr. Tiffin. And then they left the classroom with Charlie leading the way. All right, so pumpkin seeds are small but powerful. The whole pumpkin grows from that tiny little seed. Remember yesterday's story? I read to you about the tiny little seeds that the farmers plant and then they grow up to these big pumpkins. You can eat pumpkin seeds if you want, but you should ask somebody to roast them first. Remember I said you should put them in the oven or the toaster. If you plant pumpkin seeds, do it after the ground is warm. So in the spring, because guess what? They're going to get really big and they need lots and lots of space. Remember, they're like all these vines. It takes 4 months for a pumpkin to grow to its full size. So guess what? You got to plant your pumpkin seeds in June. All summer long they can grow. And then when it's time for Halloween in October, which is coming up, they'll be ready to pick. And guess what? Pumpkin is a vegetable? Nope, it's a fruit. Pumpkins are a fruit like apples and oranges. Some pumpkins are small. I've seen some like this big. Then I've seen some that are so big. They usually don't taste very good. Sweet, small pumpkins are the kind you should use to make pumpkin pie. So tell your grown-ups. All right, I think that was awesome. We learned a lot about pumpkins. So this is kind of like a real story. It was teaching you all about what happens on the inside of the pumpkin. And I kind of liked that story. So I want everybody to have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you guys later.